What is going on, everybody? What a Sunday. What a freaking Sunday. Rory McIlroy. At points, I didn't think I was going to be able to say this because it didn't quite feel like it was meant to be. But ultimately, on April 13th, 2025, Rory McIlroy has completed the career Grand Slam and he won the Masters. So Rory McIlroy finally gets over the hump. Not quite the betting favorite, but he was right behind Scottie and got it done. What a ride. I had all this different stuff I planned on talking about at one point in time when he was like four up, and it's like, I don't even know what else you can talk about beside that roller coaster of an experience that really, uh, we'll dive right into it, but symbolized Rory McIlroy's career. And as he walked up after 18, as Maria said to me, he's got a lot more friends than you. And I said, yes, he does, because he gave about 7 million hugs as he worked his way up that line of patrons to the clubhouse to sign his scorecard. And he is the 2020 Rory McIlroy has won a green jacket. So let's dive right in. But before we do, I got to tell you about my friends, my partners in the official ticketing app of this podcast. NBA playoffs is here. Hell, the Warriors are playing this week in a play-in game. If you want to go to any of these games, any of the playoff games, hockey playoffs are here. Baseball in full swing. My Giants just took 2 or 3 from the Yankees. You got concerts. You got Coachella going on. You got concerts starting in the spring, going through the summer. DJs going all year long for those of you that like that. Comedy shows, you name it. My friends at Gametime, they have you covered. So you guys know the drill. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code JOHN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code JOHN for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. It's funny. You walk into the office getting ready to sling some takes about the Masters. You've had your notebook out there for hours, and you're just thinking, like, what can you even possibly say about what we just witnessed? Like most people, if you're watching this, you were probably glued for the roller coaster that was Rory McIlroy. And it kind of hit me. I don't think any round has, I would say, been like a metaphor or symbolized McIlroy's career. Uh, Starts the first hole, double bogey. He's tied for the lead with Bryson. All of a sudden, second hole, he's losing. You're like, what is going on? Yesterday, he started birdie eagle, birdie. So it was like he started in the blink of an eye. He's 5 under or 4 under. Today, he goes, like, how is this happening? And then a couple holes go by, and all of a sudden, he's turning into hole 10, and he's got a 4-shot lead. And the greatness was on full display. The Greg Norman elements to his career were on full display. But unlike Tiger Woods, who, when he got a lead in a major, he just suffocated you like an anaconda, unlike some of the legendary players that couldn't get it done, they just unravel and the train falls off the tracks and it's just, a dumpster fire for a couple hours and you feel bad. And in those situations, usually the television, Jim Nance or whoever, even some of the other like British Open, you don't even show the guy once you get to like hole 10, 11, 12. Today, it was just like, what is going to happen? And you thought countless times he's going to win the Masters. He's going to run away with the Masters. And then you thought multiple times he's going to lose the Masters. He hit one of the worst shots you will ever see in your entire life on hole 13 when he dumps it into the drink. And all of a sudden, you're like, this is really about to go down. He had a 4-shot lead about 15 minutes before that. All of a sudden, he dumps it in the drink. He double bogeys. Justin Rose buries a birdie putt on 16, and they're tied. You're just like, is this real life? Is this really going on? And then on 15, he hits an even better shot than he hit yesterday, which I would say most people that are close to golf or follow the sport say it's probably the best shot and most important shot he's ever hit yesterday when he hit the 6-iron into 15. Today, he even hits a more improbable shot because he has to hook it around the trees with a 7-iron, and he knocks it like 5 feet, and you're like, oh my God. Like we said, the total implosion on 13 to that shot on 15 It's the ultimate Rory McIlroy experience. Let's face it, he's got a little Phil Mickelson to him. You never quite know what's going to happen. Jordan Spieth, I would say, definitely has that in him, but he's no longer that good. Like, Rory is still, I'd say right now in 2025, the best player in the world. I mean, this is his third win of the year. No one's playing better. And for the most part, I mean, he had some crazy holes today. He was easily the best player in the tournament. Rose actually today threw his hat in the ring after a rough day yesterday. But he hits that ball in 15. You're like, he's going to knock this in for eagle. All he's got to do is par out and everything's good. And then the putt's not even close. And as Immelman said, he got out of his stance before the ball even rolled like 2 rotations. You're like, Rory, and tap in birdie, but it felt like a letdown. And then he misses on 16, 17, bad bogey, or 17 actually, incredible birdie. So he goes birdie on 15, par 16, and 17. Sometimes some of these shot tracers, I think, mess with us because these guys are hitting the ball so far. And sometimes you see the shot tracer, you're like, oh, that's in the trees. And then it's perfectly in the fairway, like on 17 with Rory. And then he knocks it pretty tight, taps in his birdie, and you're like, okay, par, and he wins the Masters. And then he splits the fairway on 18. You're like, this is going to be easy. Dumps it in the bunker. Again, the most Rory moment of all time. Can't get up and down, and we're going to a playoff. I got to be honest with you. I didn't have much faith he was going to win the playoff. I thought he was going to lose. Maybe not on the first hole, because if they would have tied after 18, they would have gone to 10. But I just felt like I didn't have any confidence. Now, I technically had money on him, but I parlayed him with Colin Morikawa. But I did not believe he was going to win. After what happened on 18, again, it's not Norman or Spieth or even Rory back in the day when he imploded here, because that is just an absolute train off the track, shoot 80. It's like, what are you going to do? Or dump multiple balls in the water, end up losing by several shots. I think Jordan was 7 under. I saw the screenshot today, and Danny Willett was 2 under when Jordan was going to hole 10. So we had a 5-shot lead going to the back 9, and then it was just, a joke. This was every time that he would do something incredibly stupid, he would immediately totally redeem himself and hit like 2 of the best shots you've ever seen and like tap in birdie. But once 18 happened, I'm like, I don't know how any human being with the emotions of what's on the line for this player, of the pressure that's on his back for this player to win this tournament, could go through everything he just did for 18 holes, miss that putt on 18, and then beat a guy who is just flaming hot. I mean, Justin Rose shoots 66 today, buries like a 30-footer on 18, goes nuts with the crowd, has, for a guy that's more than likely never going to win this tournament, he has been an incredible Masters player. After he had the lead on Thursday, I saw the stat floating around. He's led this tournament after Thursday 5 different times. He's going to be runner-up in this tournament. He's got to be the first guy in Masters history to be runner-up twice and play in multiple playoffs. So you're just like, I don't know, man. And then Justin Rose hits the fairway on the playoff hole. I don't think Rory. And listen, none of us normal mortals in golf, whether you're a 5 handicap or 20 handicap, you're just putting yourself in Rory's shoes. After Rose splits the fairway on the Masters, it just feels like you blew it. You're like, how could you possibly keep your heart rate down right now? And I've seen Rory talk about this. He really works on it. I'm awful at this, and sometimes when it crosses my mind, I'm like, I don't even think this would help. But he's big on like keeping your mouth shut, and breathe through your nose, and it slows the heart rate. And I was looking at him, I'm like, I can't even imagine the mind games he's playing with himself right now to calm his emotions, because if he gets a little quick, snaps it, he's playing that cut, which he's done all week long on 18 and been awesome. And sometimes he hits the ball so far that what I said about the shot tracer, you think it's going in the trees. It's not even close to the trees. But I'm like, he's aiming kind of toward, the left side of the bunker. He's trying to play that power cut, probably 320, 330 up the hill. And you're like, this could get squirrely in multiple ways. He could duck hook it into the trees, which any human being that's ever set up for a cut has experienced, or which he had done earlier in the day. And honestly, he had done on 17 with the 3-wood, but luckily it didn't go far enough. That what if he just overcuts it and he just loses the Masters right here? And I just was like, would this be the worst thing I've ever seen? Because you just find yourself as a human being rooting for this guy. Everything that you just witnessed, he's obviously there's never going to be another Tiger Woods again. When Tiger got the lead, there really wasn't that much drama to it. You just got to watch this guy who was like a robot machine killer, and it was just a thrill ride. And because he didn't move the needle, he was the needle. You stayed glued. But I do think that whatever we witnessed today, and if this was 1992 and Sports Illustrated was still around, there would be some incredible articles being written about him. Now the written word's kind of dead, so it's all going to be us YouTubers and podcasts. But I just, that was an experience unlike I've ever had watching golf. And obviously, the buildup when you haven't won a major in a decade, the hype coming in on him. I think I talked about it last week. I didn't pull the trigger when it came to betting on Rory McIlroy. Not because I didn't think he could win. Hell, I've been saying forever, it's like, guys, he's going to win multiple more majors. Don't get fooled by what happened at the Open when Cam Smith won it, or what happened at LACC when Wyndham Clark won it. And he just couldn't make a putt in either one of those events. Or what happened last year at the US Open, which I would say was way more devastating relative than the other two. He's just too good. And then he goes this year, he wins at Pebble, he wins the Players. You're like, this guy's fucking playing unbelievable. And then he's cruising on Thursday, he's 4 under, and then all of a sudden he doubles 2 of the last 3 holes. And you're like, this is a disaster. Then he comes the next day and shoots 66. Then he shoots a 66 again on on Saturday. You're like, this is insane. But this is the Rory McIlroy experience. Honestly, it's a little unlike Phil. And I thought coming into today that, forever, most of like I would say junior high to, 10 years ago, for like a 20-year span, it was like, we need Tiger and Phil, Tiger and Phil, Tiger and Phil. But golf is not like football, where if your two teams are really good and you're in the same conference, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes play each other every single season. Every single season, the regular season, they're going to play each other. And it just works out when you're on two of the best teams. You end up playing each other all the time in the playoffs. I mean, they played 4 of the last 5 years? Same thing with Brady and Manning. It's like they're in the same conference. They're both winning their division. They're going to automatically play each other every single year. And then they ended up playing each other in the playoffs. I don't know off the top of my head. I would guess 7, 8 times. And obviously it took a long time for Manning to get over. But it's all we wanted. Tiger and Phil. No one ever thought Phil was better than Tiger. But could we get a couple duels in a PGA Championship, in a U.S. Open, at the Masters? I mean, a place where Tiger has 5 and Phil has 3. And it just never happened. It just never happened. You know why? Because it's not two teams playing each other. Really, you're playing in the Masters, one guy versus 95 players, or the U.S. Open or the PGA Championships, one guy versus 150. So the statistical likelihood, and I'm no math major, just doesn't work out that often. And now we get this epic moment last year with Bryson and Rory, and then we get it again. They're in the final group on Sunday, and you're like, this is everything I always wanted. And again, Bryson is going to go down as an all-time player, right? He's going to win more majors as well. But this isn't Tiger Phil. But this is still pretty cool. I'm like, this is the modern day. We're getting a rivalry. It's happened twice. 2 of the last 3 majors, these two guys have gone out. And Bryson, after a couple holes, like, he had nothing. I mean, his iron game, it is remarkable that he even hung around this tournament. Any human being that's ever had the duck hooks, now I wouldn't call his the duck hooks, but just like a rope draw hook, not quite a hook, not quite a draw, somewhere in the middle. It's not a controllable thing. And when you hit the ball as hard and as far as Bryson, his irons, like, you can't control it, especially at Augusta. It was like yesterday he held it together by his short game. Today he had no chance. I mean, hell, he hits the ball in the water on 11. He just hit the ball again in the water on 15. He just couldn't control his irons. And when you can't control your irons, you got no shot. So then Justin Rose and Ludvig. And yeah, man, I do believe that what we just witnessed, I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like it. And I do think that Rory now is in this world where he has the career Grand Slam. He's on the short list of players. He's the first guy since Tiger to accomplish that. The only guy in quote unquote his generation with as many majors is Brooks. But when you look at the two resumes, the totality of the two players, they are not comparable. I mean, Rory's in a different stratosphere than Brooks. And I think if we were all betting on it, and I'm not taking a shot at Brooks. I mean, Brooks is an incredible major player, but he's won 2 majors, right? He's won 3 PGAs and 2 US Opens. Rory's got them all, and Rory's like peaking. I mean, he's playing the best golf of his life. I know Rory won 4 majors when he was young. He's a dramatically better player in 2025. And now that he gets this off his back, I think the sky is the limit. Now, I'm hesitant to go like he's going to win 10 majors now, but you'd be insane to think that he's not going to win a couple more. I'd put the over under probably at like he's got 5 now. Probably 7.5. I feel pretty confident he's going to rattle off a couple more. Now, would I get into like 8 or 9? That feels pretty strong. But I think now he's chasing, and I can't speak to Jack and Trevino and Arnie and the Ben Hogans and all those guys. You can rank them however you want. It's like if you're coming at me with Jim Brown and Babe Ruth, like I never saw these guys play. We can YouTube it all you want. I say it all the time. When you are arguing someone as a player, when you've watched them in the prime of their career, you have a much better argument and a much better leg to stand on than you do when you're just like shitting on a guy or propping a guy up based on just numbers, not having experienced them. I feel very confident talking to someone about Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Steph Curry, Tiger Woods, whoever. I'm not going to be as confident like breaking down Joe Montana and Larry Bird and Jack Nicklaus. We can Google them all we want, but if you don't live through their era, it's hard to feel as comfortable. And I lived through the Tiger and Phil era. And those, obviously Tiger, I think, for me, greatest player ever. Now, he's never going to have as many majors as Jack, but that's beside the point. Of the internet era, Tiger's in a world by himself. I would say the number 2 player of that era is also in a world by himself. It's Phil Mickelson. Then there's an argument of a group of like 6 or 7 guys, and Rory was always a part of that argument. Rory, Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka, Ernie Els, a bunch of guys, right? And now I think Rory is in hot pursuit of Phil Mickelson. He is 1 major away from tying him. He's basically 20 years younger. Phil has 45 career victories. Now, the one thing Phil has, which is a remarkable statistic, he has finished second in 12 majors. Like that's pretty nuts. Rory's finished fourth, or 4 times second in majors. So Phil's major record finishing second is pretty like eye-opening. And obviously he's never won a US Open, so he doesn't have a career Grand Slam, but he's finished second in that tournament, I think 6 times, which like to me adds to the lore. Because this is not football where you either win or lose the Super Bowl or you win or lose the AFC Championship game. It's like Josh Allen can't beat Patrick Mahomes. That's a fact. Like Phil Mickelson, like he beat basically everyone else in the tournament constantly. He just couldn't beat the one guy. And famously, I think at Winged Foot, when he pumps it OB on 18, I mean, he had some pretty memorable moments. But like that is who now Rory is inside of. And in the prime of his career, keep rattling off wins. I think today was his 29th win. So he's 16 wins behind him and 1 major behind him. So if he can maintain, assuming that he stays healthy, and assuming now that he has the same level of drive, which, it's weird. The last 3 or 4 years, he's had this thing to be chasing, right? And it just kept motivating him. And you just wonder now, just human psychology, like, is this guy just going to be Tiger moving forward and maintain, like, in 3 days, be out there banging balls and working out and nothing changes? What maintain this level of play? And we've seen it with the Chiefs. Like Patrick Mahomes has not taken the foot off the pedal at all, rattling off Super Bowls. Well, Rory has had this huge gap of not winning anything in his mind that mattered the most, given it's the majors, and chased it and chased it and chased it and had heartache and heartache and heartache and heartache. Finally accomplishes it. It's like those leadership gurus talk about it. Like you bang the rock, and it might take you a year, might take you 10 years, it might take you 100 years. Finally, on that millionth swing, the rock cracks. But it's not actually the millionth swing that cracks the rock. It's all the accumulation of the swings. And that's where all these athletes or anyone that's successful talk about. It's over and over and over. It's about, the process. And listen, I say it all the time. People want to know about Nick Saban's process. People want to know about Jeff Bezos' process. No one gives a shit about the average guy's process. So part of like making quote unquote the process meaningful, you got to be really, really successful. And now there's no arguing or disputing Rory McIlroy. And this, I don't want to say is icing on the cake, but it feels like that a little bit. And that to me is where I would be a little unsure what to look for moving forward Because if that does feel like that, is like the rest of this year a wash, right? Is the rest of this year. Now, listen, he would much rather, like, it's not like if he had lost this tournament to Justin Rose, would that have lit a fire under his ass and had him just keep grinding and grinding and grinding and maintain this high level of play. You would choose winning this tournament and then just figure it out moving forward. But Quail Hollow is hosting the PGA Championship here in a month. I'm pretty sure he's won there a bunch of times. And more than likely now with Scottie Scheffler, who actually kind of came on at the end, going to be the betting favorite. So I think the question mark is like, are we getting the same Rory the rest of the year? Because if we are, he could win another major. Hell, he could win a couple. Like last year when Xander won the PGA Championship, he clearly no foot off the pedal, kept it down. A couple months later, wins the Open. All of a sudden, he's got 2 majors. And I don't think see how anyone who watches golf could go, well, if Rory just maintains whatever he's doing, I'd argue he'd be the favorite at definitely the PGA and the U.S. Open. And hell, the Open at Royal Portrush, like some might call that a home game, going to be pretty advantageous for him. So I would say at this point in time, assuming that pedal to the metal and nothing changes from what he's been doing, I'll give him the week off this upcoming week. But like, would it feel like, like he didn't accomplish what he should have if he doesn't win another major this year? Because he's been so close these last couple years. Now he gets this off his back. Does he win a major this upcoming year by 4 or 5? Because I do look at him a little differently in these other tournaments now than I would previously, where clearly the pressure got to him. All you have to do is watch 13 today. All you have to do is watch 18. I don't understand, if you're Rory McIlroy, how you don't just hit that ball to the middle of the green. And listen, I've never been in that situation, just like anyone listening or watching has ever been in that situation. But when you're that good at golf, when you're in the middle of the fairway and you have 40-yard shot, how no matter what, just get the thing on the green, 2-putt, and we win the Masters. To hit that in the bunker is like, I can't even imagine Tiger Woods' reaction at home. Like, what? How does that happen? And honestly, going back to 13, I had a buddy named Mark send me this clip the other day of like a statistical guy breaking down how you should play par fives. And basically, it is always advantage player to go for it. Because today he lays up and then he dunks it in the water, where Jim Nantz and Immelman almost fell out of the booth. So shocked and just dumbfounded on how that could happen. But if you go for it, even if you hit it in the water, going in the water is a 1-stroke penalty. So you drop it 50, 60 yards, you're hitting 4. In worst case scenario, you're going to be putting for par, even if it's 20 feet and you miss, you tap in a bogey. When you lay up and the same thing happens, I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult to bogey. And all of a sudden he's got a double and it feels like it might as well have been a quadruple. And you could feel it on his face. Honestly, that reaction when he hit the ground at the end had to be the overcoming of like those 2 shots on 18, his second shot, his third shot on 13, some of those just god awful putts. And again, this is all relative to one of the greatest players of all time. I mean, this guy is a couple more big wins away from being like, is he like a top 5 golfer of all time? Like Tiger, Jack, is he like start being in the mix of the Arnold Palmers, Ben Hogans, Gary Players? I mean, this is the company he's chasing. And again, Phil, he might not be 5, but he's definitely closer to 5 than 10. So you start chasing him, you start saying goodbye. Like, think about Rory right now. Has nothing in common with guys like Justin Thomas. Hell, even Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth is not that good anymore. Koepka, who knows? He might never be the same. That moment a couple years ago at the PGA might have been his last claim to fame. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're 5-time major champion. Like, you're in pretty special company. Dustin Johnson missed the cut this week. It's like, see ya, adios. So, like, who are we talking? Scottie, I mean, we anointed him, rightfully so. I mean, he's won 2 majors, but they both been the same tournament. So before we start comparing him to some of these other guys, like, he's got to win another major beside the Masters. And right now, it just feels like he's a little off. And he's still damn good. He's clearly, one of the great talents on the PGA Tour, and on any given day could beat anybody. But he's not what he was last year. You got Xander, who's got a fucked up rib. who I actually think finished a little higher than I thought because his name come on the leaderboard. It's like I don't even think I've seen Xander hit a shot. Like Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland. The NBA 82 game grind is done. And now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for the high stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw dropping plays. Can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. From the play-in games all the way through the finals. Now, the time to back your favorite players and teams as they chase glory. All season long, DraftKings has been your go-to spot for NBA player props, and that doesn't stop now. Want to make your playoff experience even more intense? Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will Curry drop 30? Will LeBron drop 40 or more? It's your call. Ready to place your first bet? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, lock in your bets, and let's make the playoff run unforgettable. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code JOHN. That's code JOHN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. So it's like, yeah, the tour has never been deeper, right? And that's not really debatable, right? Even relative to what Tiger had to deal with in the late 90s, early 2000s. The depth of talent, 1 through like 25, 35, like that range. These guys are really, really good. And some of these older guys, we just saw with Justin Rose, Adam Scott. I almost said Hideki because I feel like Hideki's 40, but he's actually like 30. I think he shot 600 today before like half the people even turned on the Masters. But, they're still playing at a high level. It's really, really deep. This is the best player. And now where he's going, what he did today, most Rory McIlroy round ever. And this little rivalry, it doesn't quite, they didn't really go at it after like 5 or 6 holes because on the third hole, Rory McIlroy is actually Bryson takes the lead on 2. Then by 3, it flips again because Rory birdies Bryson bogeys, and that's it for basically Bryson. Because then Rory would birdie again and get to 12, and by like hole 9, he's 13 under, and Bryson's 9 under, and it was over. Then Bryson hits in the water on 11, and sayonara, ejects himself, which happens. I actually think Bryson had an incredible, respectable week for a guy that was just snapping his irons to the left. And he kept saying that, like, I can't, my irons, I can't control the face of the club. Now, granted, he builds these clubs to do that, but for whatever's happening, and listen, I understand he's a grinder, but you have to wonder if, like, he's hitting 5 bags of balls after Saturday, and he's in awesome shape. He looks good. He's found a perfect, like, sweet spot of not too fat / muscle bound. He looks really good. But I wonder if he's going to have to find some balance of like hitting a couple shots on the range after a round of dial stuff and just bang balls into the night. Like you're 30 years old. You only have so much energy, and maybe he ran out of juice. But really, really cool moment. And post Tiger, I think it also shows like I think you see it sometimes like with Mahomes and the Chiefs. Um, what we got to experience with Brady, what we got to experience with Tiger, there are these outlier situations, even if other guys come and have remarkable careers. I mean, Mahomes, if he never played another snap, what he accomplished in like a 6, 7 year span is just Lamar and Josh. I mean, 2 of the best players I've ever seen. I've been watching football for 30 years, are never going to sniff those accomplishments. It's just not going to happen. If either one were to win multiple Super Bowls, it'd be like, holy shit, right? And what Tiger would do, beating these people and just suffocating them, never fucking up. I mean, part of when you hear these like historians, guys like Brandel talk about Tiger, Tiger was pretty boring. He would just leave in the right spots, hit the right side of the green, he'd 2-putt, he would never screw up. He would never screw up. He can't relate to hitting into the water on 13. He can't relate to hitting into the bunker on 18. Doesn't mean he's going to hit it tight. I think sometimes you think of Tiger like hitting it 3 feet on every hole, but like never doing that. And sometimes it's like, what do they say? Dumb loses more games than smart wins. It's not that much different in golf. Like the professionals talk about this all the time. Where do I miss? Where do I miss? Where do I miss? Because you're not going to hit perfect shots. Like Rory shot on 15 when he hits that hook around the trees, eh, that's, I don't want to say a once in a lifetime shot because he's a once in a lifetime or once in a generation type player and he's hit countless shots like that, but you don't hit that many shots on a Sunday in a major in your entire career. Right? That actually, that shot is much more the outlier than just hit it to the left side of the green and two putt, or just miss it in the right bunker on a par five where you can get up and down or leave yourself a pretty good birdie putt. Worst case scenario, you par, you're up multiple shots. Like that's how you win a lot of these majors, especially once you get to the U.S. Open, where these holes really penalize you with crazy rough or missing fairways. And I just think you watch Rory, and one thing I don't know if you ever clean this up. It's part of the package. I mean, this was always kind of the part of the package with Phil. And it's sad that we don't get much great Spieth anymore, but that's a huge part of it with Spieth. Is like at any moment, on any given shot, over like 180 yards, anything can happen. Off the tee, even Rory, who most people consider the greatest driver of all time. I think on five, he pumped one. There's not really out of bounds at the Masters, but you're like, is that going out of bounds? He's like, stop, stop, stop. I mean, there would just be these moments you're like, oh my God. Even on 17, where clearly the tracer was off, you're like, did he just pump this three wood into the trees? It is believable. It is believable. So I actually think in a weird way, Rory upped his appeal. And this was a huge part of the Mickelson appeal. Like Tiger's appeal was just, I'm going to dominate. I am going to win, right? I'm just never going to lose. And it doesn't mean he actually never lost. He definitely did. But when I have a lead, especially in a major, chalk it up W for me. And most people are not that. And Rory has just kind of established himself of like anything can kind of happen. Now, the greatest thing happened today, and that's winning the Masters. And now he gets to sit at this table with these guys from Jack to Tiger to Phil to even a lot of his contemporaries, right? Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth. Um, yeah, man, that was wild. That was I really I that was riveting. The end was, and the beginning was, but there was a middle stretch from like 6 to 10 where it did feel little inevitable. I mean, if you look, and I'm sure DraftKings will put this out at the ebb and flow of his odds. I mean, he starts today at minus 200, so you got to bet 100. You got to bet $200 to win 100. By the second hole when he's one down, I looked and I thought about it, but again, it felt like he might shoot like 80. He was plus 135. And then I would imagine when he's multiple shots up on like hole 9 and 10. I mean, at one point in time on 10, he got to 14 under. My guess is, I actually think I checked. I don't know if it was 10 or 12. He was minus 500. Well, when Justin Rose takes the lead after he bogeys, um, what hole did he bogey? Oh, he bogeyed 14. I would guess that at worst he was probably even odds or maybe like minus 120 still to win. But man, that was wild. And you know what's cool is sometimes in the sports calendar, and this is the great part about the reality show that is, uh, the highest level of professional sports. Whether it's Federer playing Djokovic, whether it's Tiger going at it with whoever, whether it's Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, you might get an all-time great game. You might get a game that felt like a blowout. I remember laying on my couch in what would have been 2017 and falling asleep in the first half, quote unquote falling asleep, like dozing off, being pretty bored, 28-3. And it was like the Patriots are going to lose this game like 40-10. And then things happen and that you just never forget. And sometimes the things in golf that you never forget are, to me, the two biggest meltdowns of all time are Vanderbilt at the Open and obviously Greg Norman here at the Masters. And in football, 28-3 is just in a world by itself. I think there was, when I was really, really young, I don't know if it was 90 or 91, there was like a legendary comeback, the Buffalo Bills. And I think Frank Reich, the new coach for Stanford, was the quarterback. Maybe Jim Kelly was hurt, and they were playing, I think, the Houston Oilers, and were down. I don't have the score up top, 35-3 or something like that, and came storming back. And you just get these games and these moments. And it might be the first round of the playoffs. It might be a Super Bowl. It could be a major. It also just could be just a Pebble Beach. And you never know when it's going to happen. And it's what makes all this so fun. And obviously now that, golf gambling and something I've been doing now pretty consistently for a couple years adds a huge element to it. That was a wild ride. I don't even know who else to talk about. Justin Rose, a lot of respect. A lot of respect for what he did today. And like I said, I truly believed not only when they teed off on 18, but Rory got to the tee in the playoff. It felt like 5 minutes before Justin. It was like, is he just hitting a couple extra balls, or is he playing mind games with them? Clearly, he knows them really well. They've been on the Ryder Cup team together for 15 plus years. Uh, you didn't quite know, and maybe it was going to work, and then he split that tee. You're like, oh my god, this is really going to happen. So props to Justin Rose, who is a badass. I mean, he's another guy he's only got one major. I mean, some of these other guys were listed and have multiple of the last 15, 20 years, but what a fucking stud. What a badass to be playing at this level. That's what's, I would say, different about golf than basically any team sport. Obviously, even any individual sport, the other big individual sport would be tennis. You're not going to play at a high level in tennis in your mid 40s like you can in golf. I mean, hell, Tiger Woods won the Masters. I think he was 44 and 19. Um, that's just not happening in tennis. Like, you're not winning Wimbledon at 44 with all these injuries. That's never happening. Obviously, in football, basketball, and baseball, Tom Brady and Nolan Ryan just don't. I mean, they're outliers for a reason. Roger Clemens was on who knows what, throwing 98, pitching for the Yankees and the Astros when he was 43 or 44. Clearly, I mean, it's not the case. We're in golf. You're seeing guys. I mean, Phil Mickelson won a major a couple years ago at like 50, 51 years old. So you can never sleep on these guys, the Adam Scotts, the Justin Roses. I mean, one day guys like Rory will be 42 years old. And it's not inconceivable that some of these guys in this generation, like all of a sudden they're in the mix to win one of these majors. It's what makes like Ludvig, ultimately, like he looks like an unstoppable force. One, he just looks like a golfer. Good looking dude, tall, skinny, beautiful swing, unfazed by screw ups. Like, I saw Brandel Chambly talking about it on Live From. Never throws tantrums in a sport, and I'm guilty of this too. I threw one a couple weeks ago. People just throw their hat, hit their driver on the tee box, and make a big divot. It's just natural human reaction when you screw up, and it just feels like he is completely unfazed. Now, he all-time meltdown on 18. I think he had a triple bogey. He three-putted 17 to just kind of unravel. But this guy looked like he was poised to, like, back-to-back years, second last year, and looked like he was going to be third this year. Like, this guy feels like he is coming. He is. I mean, the talent on that guy is oozing out of his golf swing. Love Ludvig. Fun player to watch. What a badass. I was at a birthday dinner last night. Or no, it was a couple nights ago. Was it last night? I forget where I was. Oh, no, it was last night. We were talking about, some of these schools. I follow this one guy, one of the best college golfers in the country. And his Instagram, I mean, he is dating a girl that 10 years ago, 100% probably dates the quarterback at the school. And this is a Power Five, like, high level program. But if you're smart and you go into some of these rooms, it's like, yeah, this quarterback, that guy might be a 6th round pick. This guy is probably going to play on the PGA Tour for 20 years. And I don't know if you see what sits on the back of their collar. It says NetJets. They don't go to commercial airports, starting at 20, 21, 22 years old. So Ludvig is a good example. He's at Texas Tech from Sweden. Victor was like this at Oklahoma State. I'm sure they're in the weight room, some of these girls chasing the football players. Now, if you get the right football player, don't blame you. But a lot of those guys, a couple years on the practice squad, ain't making any coin. That fucker Ludvig is going to be worth $100 million, 1,000,000% by the time he's like 25 years old. I would be all over that cat. Just like some of these guys at like Arizona State, Auburn, Alabama, the best college programs. If the guy's number 1 or number 2 on your team and he's playing in some PGA events, date him. Because that guy usually is a rocket ship right to big-ass homes, sweet-ass lives. Now, that's what's changed dramatically about the sport. I think Rory today, biggest purse ever, 4.2. The amount of money these guys are winning. Rory's rich before he won or lost this tournament. But Maria was telling me a story. She was at an open house there was like $4 or $5 million, and the people coming in to see it here in Arizona, down in Paradise Valley, were PGA Tour golfing caddies. The caddies. Now, this guy was on the bag for, I would say, like a top 50 player, not like Rory or Ludvig or Scottie, and they're looking at homes worth $4 or $5 million. The caddies. Part of it's the Saudis, the influx of money that the PGA Tours had to back. All these guys are so rich, not just the top guys, which has always been the case. Tiger, Phil, Jack, Greg Norman. I'm talking about like the 48th guy on tour, the 62nd guy on tour is not only a multimillionaire, his caddy is rolling in dough. I mean, Scotty's caddy last year, I think, made $7 million. And that assumes that he's only kicking him 10%. Sure, they're really close. You get other bonuses. Who knows? He might have netted $10 million. Fucking caddy, one season. So the money that is flowing on this tour, it's not, NBA or NFL money, because it's weird. Like, beside your sponsors, which the top guys make a lot, you got to go earn it as the player, right? It's the ultimate meritocracy. Like, the only way you win the big pot of money at the end of a tournament is you got to win the tournament. I went to a Suns game, what was that, Tuesday, watched Bradley Beal. He's getting paid $50 million, whether he's an all-star or whether he gave the lowest effort I've ever seen from an NBA player that makes a lot of money in my life of attending sporting events for 30 plus years that I can remember. Like, this is crazy. Golf's the opposite. If you want to make $50 million, you better win a lot of tournaments. So a lot of these guys, but now it's like you get like sixth and start racking up $700,000-$800,000 a tournament, and that's what really changed. And inevitably, all these guys get back together. And I'll end on a couple things really quick. One takeaway I had is, clearly what's cool about the Masters is everyone gets back together. And John Rahm actually showed signs of life after the first round. I don't know where he ended up finishing, but he definitely didn't have a terrible week. Let me just pull up where he finished. I just want to read off some of the guys on Live where they finished. So like Terrell Hatton T14, John Rahm T14, Bryson T5, but really he was right there. Patrick Reed was third. We all know Liv's, got some all-time great. I mean, John Rahm, if he ever came back to the PGA Tour and got his mojo back, is an elite player. Bryson clearly is an awesome player. You could argue, though, if that you could only just get one guy back, just one guy, it's the YouTuber. It's Bryson DeChambeau. I just think, like, he has separated himself. Now, you want them all back because part of sports, you need good guys, you need bad guys, you need crazy guys, you need fun guys. Like having Patrick Reed around, having Terrell Hatton helicoptering clubs, like you need all that. But if you had to choose, like you're only allotted one guy from Live, it'd be like the equivalent of like you're drafting number one and Andrew Luck's in the draft. It's not 2025 where it's like, well, should we take Travis Hunter number one? It's a no-brainer. It'd be Bryson, and then I think we could argue all day long who's number two. That is how much over the last, I would say, 18, 12 months, he's separated from the pack. And his popularity, his, I would just say, overall influence and fame, and it feels he's really, really famous. Obviously, his high level of play would not shock me at all. I was already looking at the odds. I think he's an auto bet the next two majors to win. Wouldn't shock me at all. He's got to dial in these irons a little bit, but at the PGA Championship or the U.S. Open, clearly got to dial in the irons. Like, can't win the U.S. Open with him hitting irons like today. But one thing you know about Bryson is, like, if you tell me he's going to hit balls all week long for 18 hours, like, it's believable as he's shooting YouTubes. So he's really separated from the pack. And last but not least, I mean, the funniest thing that's ever happened in the history of Masters is the kid from Arizona State, Ballesteros, who it's got to be just what an incredible honor it has to be as an amateur to play in this tournament. He's playing with Justin Thomas. He's playing with Scottie Scheffler. And he's got to take a leak. I've been there. You've been there. Sometimes you just got to take a piss. And he pisses in Rays Creek, I would say easily the most famous body of water. And it's not even a body of water. Let's say stream of water, because we have some famous lakes on the PGA Tour, and we have, Pebble Beach on the ocean, but stream of water, not even close, Rays Creek. He pees in it at the Masters. He gets a standing O because he didn't realize that everyone could see him. Clearly, the Masters has to be furious, probably threatens that he's never allowed back. He calls it a river. The coach at Arizona State had gotten kicked out, not of the driving range, of the entire tournament on Tuesday for wearing shorts. Rough 20, 48 hours for Arizona State. Great moment for the University of Alabama, though. Nick Dunlap shoots a 90 on Thursday. He was a kid that didn't even plan on becoming a pro. Last year wins in Palm Springs, doesn't have a choice, just becomes a pro, wins again later that year, I think up in Reno at the Barracuda, wins twice last year on the PGA Tour. Now, I wouldn't call the Amex and the Barracuda exactly the Masters and the Memorial, but still, you win twice on the PGA Tour. Incredible fucking accomplishment. Shoots 90. Probably wanted to cry. It had to be the most, I would guess that Nick Dunlap hasn't shot 90. I would assume he's 21, 22, 23 years old since he was, I would say, younger than 14, 13, 12. Maybe he was a late bloomer, so 15, but that feels stretching it. I bet he hasn't shot 90 since, honestly, maybe even since he's been a teenager. And to shoot 90 at the Masters, and you can go on the Masters app, and he's hitting it, I mean, just all over the map, dropping his club. It's flying right, it's flying left. And he's like, he had an awesome Instagram post where he's like, this is the worst and lowest moment of my entire life. And he sends his trainer to go get him 100 balls at Target, and he just banged him into the woods. And then he came out the next day and he shot 71. And at one point in time on Friday, he was 3 under. So I remember when I was watching a couple years ago when he won at Amex. One thing Saban is smart about is he befriends guys when he was a coach at Alabama on the golf team because he plays a lot of golf during the offseason and he plays for money and he always has one of those guys on the team. So he was buddies with Nick Dunlop because he would always be his partner when he played. And he called in. I remember watching on Golf Channel. He's like calling into the Amex, or maybe it was on NBC. And Saban was so proud, like watching Dunlop win this tournament he was an amateur. He didn't even win any money. And then to have basically a year later, a little over a year, to shoot 90 at the Masters, I can't even imagine the embarrassment. And listen, any human being, whether you're a 100 handicap or a scratch handicap, has been at a moment where I don't know what's going on the golf course. I have no clue where the shot's going to go. I have no clue what's going on in my golf swing. You just feel you're like a cornerback in the NFL. You're on an island and you got like a rolled ankle. You can't run. You got no chance. None. And for him to bounce back, what an incredible accomplishment by Nick Dunlap. 19 shot swing. So congrats to Rory McIlroy, Masters champ. Uh, what a day, man. What a day.